What happens when America's most outspoken daytime host goes head-to-head with one of the world's most controversial royals? You won't believe what unfolded when Meghan Markle sat down with Joy Behar on The View. What started as a cordial conversation quickly spiraled into one of the most explosive confrontations daytime television has ever seen. From sharp questions to cutting comebacks, the clash built until the studio was left in stunned silence, and Meghan walked away in tears. The View's studio always felt like a sunlit town square, a bright amphitheater ringed with camera lenses and curious eyes. The new set shimmered in cream and brass. The table glowed beneath a halo of downlights. The audience, caffeinated and eager, hummed like a beehive. Whoopi rolled out first to her anchor chair, sliding her reading glasses down to smile at the crowd. Joy followed with a brisk wave, the kind that doubled as a warning. She was in excellent form. "Good morning, everybody," Whoopi purred. "We've got a very special guest today. Actress, advocate, mother, podcast host. You know her from A Few Small Things." The audience chuckled. "Please welcome Meghan Markle." She entered like an overture, pressed ivory trench dress, immaculate blowout, a careful smile that tried to appear effortless. The audience rose, cheering with the earnestness daytime TV specializes in. Meghan offered a serene wave and a perfectly calibrated, "Thank you for having me." Whoopi set the tone. That was her gift. "We're happy you're here," she said, leaning forward, palms open. "We start with love around here." She gestured to a chair between Joy and Sunny's empty seat. Sunny was on assignment, and across from Sarah and Alyssa. Meghan sat, smoothing the hem of her dress with 2 fingers, a small, practiced gesture that read like punctuation. Joy cocked her head, that famous skeptical tilt. "Well, let's get right to it, huh?" she said, light but edged. "Because I know our audience has questions." The audience whooped. Live television loves a promise of spice. Whoopi gave Joy a half smile that said, "Let's not scorch the pancakes too early." "First things first," Whoopi said to Meghan, voice low as velvet. "Life, you've moved. You've got kiddos. You've got projects. How is California treating you?" Meghan's smile warmed a degree. "California's home. Sunshine, ocean, a slower pace. Well, as slow as it can be with 2 little ones," she said. "We're building community. We're doing meaningful work." "Sounds like a Nancy Meyers movie," Sarah chimed in, earning a polite laugh. Cameras captured Meghan's profile, chin lifted just enough to read his poise. Joy didn't laugh. She watched, eyes narrowing slightly, like a jeweler searching for hairline cracks. "Okay then," she said, flipping a blue card. "Since we're being honest, what does it really feel like to live in America now? I mean the real America. You were not universally embraced in the UK, let's put it that way. Is being in the States just easier because you get a friendlier press?" A hinge somewhere in the room creaked shut. Meghan's lashes lowered and rose. Half a beat, hardly there, but Joy saw it. "Joy," Meghan replied, voice silken. "Is that your way of asking whether I came here because England didn't take to me? Because if so, I'd question the phrasing." Joy's smile sharpened. "I'm asking whether you're happier here because folks don't boo you on the way to the grocery store." Whoopi slid a palm between them, an old-school crossing guard. "We don't boo anyone on the way to the grocery store," she said. "We DoorDash and complain online." A ripple of laughter broke the tension, but the air didn't quite clear. Meghan re-squared her shoulders. "I live where my family is healthy and supported," she said. "California isn't a consolation prize. It's a choice." "I say." "Uh-huh," Joy said, setting her card aside as if to say, "Let's speak plainly." "Speaking of family, Harry's been in the UK this week. Charity award show, right? And you're here. People talk, they always do. Trouble in paradise, that kind of thing. Anything you want to clear up?" Meghan's smile thinned. "I've found rumors tend to evaporate when we stop blowing on them," she said. "Harry's where he needs to be, doing work that matters. I'm here doing the same. We're adults. We don't require chaperones." Sarah glanced at Alyssa. Alyssa studied her coffee cup like it contained the nuclear codes. Whoopi nodded a soft moving on, but Joy wasn't finished. "Okay, but you have to admit, optics, Joy started. Joy, Meghan cut in gently, a delicate blade wrapped in velvet. I admit nothing except that I'm not here to feed tabloids through the vending machine. If people choose gossip over facts, that isn't my responsibility. The audience emitted that collective, ooh, that daytime producers love. A soundtrack tag that meant, uh-oh, this might get good. Whoopi leaned back, a captain feeling gusts shift across the deck. Let's pivot, she said. You've got a new initiative launching, education, digital literacy. That's good stuff. What's the goal? Meghan brightened, but only slightly. It's about empowering young people, particularly girls, to control their narrative in the digital space. Joy twirled a pen. Control your narrative seems to come up a lot with you. Because it matters, Meghan answered, heat rising a degree. For years, my narrative was shaped by people who never met me. Some of us have met you, Joy said, not blinking. We still have questions. Whoopi placed her pen down. Joy. What? Joy said, palms up. I'm being polite. That is Joy's version of polite, Whoopi told Meghan with a grin. The audience laughed gratefully. Steam vented, kettle intact. For the moment. Meghan's answer came crisp. Questions are fine, assumptions aren't. Fair, Sarah said quickly. Can I ask a purely logistical one? No tabloid cloud? She waited for Meghan's nod. How do you decide what's public and private for your kids? We talk about that a lot on this show. Instinct and boundaries, Meghan replied. Our children didn't apply for fame. They inherited scrutiny. We're careful. Joy tapped her card again. Careful or curated, she asked. Both, Meghan returned, like most public people, like most television shows. She smiled at the set. It didn't reach her eyes, including this one. The audience laughed in patches. Some oohed again. Alyssa said, well, she's not wrong, which pulled a few nervous claps. Whoopi steered toward safer harbor. Okay, work. Everyone hears streaming deals and decides they're finance experts. Are you developing more content for Netflix? Meghan's brows lifted, a barely there challenge. We develop projects where there's alignment. People love to pretend they understand the details of contracts they've never read. That sounds like a yes, Joy said. That sounds like an answer, Meghan countered. Joy's smile thinned. She was good on the draw. Meghan was too. Just to be crystal, Joy said, are you asking for more money for the next season? Because some folks think the mission gets blurry when the checks get bigger. Meghan's head tilted a fraction. Some folks should find hobbies, she said, the cadence slow, deliberate. Investing in storytelling that uplifts isn't greed, it's strategy. The offstage producer's hands circled the air. Wrap soon, break coming. But curiosity, once loosed, refuses a leash. Joy leaned in again, lower voice, higher voltage. You've said you're done with the royal stuff, she began. Yet here we are. Every project touches the crown somehow. Is it that you can't move on, or that the audience won't pay attention unless a tiara is peeking out of frame? Meghan's posture went statue still. A small vein ticked at her temple, visible only to the cameras brave enough to punch in tight. I don't tailor my life to appease strangers, she said. My proximity to an institution doesn't obligate me to silence, and it certainly doesn't oblige me to nostalgia. Translation, Joy said lightly. You'll use it when it serves you. Translation, Meghan replied. I won't be policed. Whoopi lifted both hands, palms out. Time, she announced, ringmaster calling intermission. We're going to slide it to break. When we come back, more with Meghan about her foundation and how we fix the internet before it eats our children. Applause swelled obediently. Music rose. Stagehands swooped with water and powder puffs. Meghan accepted a sip but waved off makeup. Joy shuffled her cards into a new order, jaw working. Whoopi leaned toward Meghan and murmured something private. Meghan nodded without softening. As the red tally light clicked off, the studio's hum rearranged itself. Lower, throatier. Joy circled a note with her pen 3 times. She didn't look up when Meghan glanced over. The truce signaled by the music break felt fragile as spun sugar. A stage manager counted down from 5. Lights brightened, applause returned. Whoopi beamed the audience back from commercial like a pilot easing through turbulence. "We're here with Meghan Markle," she said, "talking about kids, media, and all the ways the world is noisy." Laughter. "Joy, you were what? Mid-interruption?" Joy smiled thinly. "I was mid-question." She turned to Meghan, voice honeyed and honed. "Help me understand something. You say the crown is in your rearview mirror. Then why, when we scratch the surface of any interview, does the palace fall out? If you truly don't care, why not say, 'No comment, no more, door closed,' and mean it?" Meghan's chin lifted. When she spoke, the softness was gone. "Because pretending a chapter never happened is the fastest way to repeat it," she said. "Silence protects the status quo, not the people harmed by it." Or, Joy countered, "silence just keeps dinner civil, which is how the rest of us survive our in-laws." Laughter popped, but it landed crooked. Meghan's face didn't move. "With respect, Joy, my in-laws aren't your in-laws," she said. "And my dinner table came with a tabloid press camped in the shrubs." "Sure," Joy said, "but you also had, what do we call them, Whoopi staff?" The audience laughed, a little mean. "Doesn't sound like the gulag." Whoopi shot her a glance. "We're steering," she warned. Meghan breathed in, slow, as if counting to 3 on the way down from a high dive. "Having staff is not the same as having safety," she said evenly. "It's astonishing how often people confuse proximity to power with actual power." The line landed clean, crisp, memorable, the sort of thing that would clip well for social. A few audience members clapped on instinct. Joy's jaw flexed. "Okay," Whoopi said, decisive. "Let's lighten it. We do pop culture too, not just geopolitics. What are you binging? What makes you laugh?" Meghan blinked. She hadn't expected the lane change. "Our house is Paw Patrol by day," she said finally. "And by night, British panel shows, ironically." Joy pounced on British. "Ah, so there is something you miss." Meghan's smile was quick and brittle. "Sarcasm travels," she said. "And my sense of humor survived the transatlantic move." Whoopi laughed. "Amen." She glanced down at her notes, then up at Joy, then back to Meghan. A triangle of negotiation. "Last one for this block," she said, gentle but firm. "If you could correct one misconception about you, the thing that keeps you yelling at the TV, what would it be?" Meghan's answer was immediate. "That I'm a headline with legs," she said. "I'm a person. People evolve. Narratives should too." Joy tapped her pen twice, a metronome ticking toward a key change. "And if the narrative doesn't?" she asked. Meghan didn't look away. "Then I evolve without its permission." The audience made that satisfied sound daytime viewers deploy when they've just heard a line they might quote to their sister later. Whoopi smiled, shoulders easing. "We'll be right back," she said, "with more from Meghan. And yes, we're going to talk about digital safety and schools, so get your notebooks." Music up, applause up, red light off. Joy set her pen down and took a slow sip of water, eyes level with Meghan's over the glass. Meghan folded her hands in her lap and stared at a point just past the Steadicam, the practiced 1,000-yard gaze of people who have learned to keep their feelings in their bones until the microphones sleep. Sarah whispered to Alyssa, "You could surf on that tension." Alyssa didn't answer. Whoopi studied both women, calculating the distance to the nearest fire extinguisher. On the monitor, a commercial for laundry detergent filled the screen with bubbles. In the studio, oxygen thinned to something metallic. Everyone knew what daytime television also knew. Polite beginnings are just paper. It doesn't take much heat to char the edge. The floor manager raised his hand again, fingers flaring 5-1. The music faded. The applause obediently flared and folded. Whoopi looked into camera 3. "And we're back," she said brightly. "After the break, we're diving into Meghan's new project and taking a few questions from the audience." She turned toward the bleachers. "Who's got one?" A hand shot up, a woman in a denim jacket, nerves and curiosity wrestling in her smile. Whoopi nodded. "Go ahead, baby." The woman stood, voice shaking just enough to be real. "Hi, Meghan. I just wonder, do you ever feel like, I don't know, you talk down to people a little, like we can't understand your side unless we've lived it? There it was. The room held its breath. Meghan blinked, surprised. She looked at the woman, not the cameras. I feel like people talk about me more than to me, she said. If I sound guarded, it's because experience taught me to keep my armor close. But I'm here, aren't I? She opened her hands, a small surrender. I'm trying. For a heartbeat, softness returned to the set. Then Joy cleared her throat, the sound of a cue ball breaking a rack. Since we're trying, she said, let me try one more time. Clean and simple. Are you asking for more money from Netflix for the new season? Yes or no? The audience made a little whoa noise. Whoopi's eyes closed for one long blink. Meghan lifted her chin. I'm asking that my work be valued, she said. If that offends people, perhaps they should examine why they're comfortable underpaying women, especially women of color, for telling stories that aren't designed to flatter them. Joy's mouth pressed into a narrow line. She set her elbows on the table and laced her fingers. Here's what offends people, she said softly, and the softness made it sharper. They think you've made a career of lecturing them from a cliff house in Montecito about how hard your life is. The room temperature dipped. Whoopi sat up straighter. Joy? Meghan's eyes flashed. If you think survival is a lecture, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe tell us something that isn't about the crown, Joy said. Maybe stop asking me about it, Meghan shot back. Whoopi slid in, the human airbag. We are officially at the break, she announced, even though they weren't. We'll be right back. But as the music rose and the applause tried to swell, nothing in the room moved. Joy's gaze held Meghan's like a knot. Meghan didn't drop it. The audience, sensing that glittering, dangerous hush that precedes a storm, didn't either. The interview had started with smiles. It would not end that way. And as the cameras cut to commercial, everyone on that set, hosts, crew, audience, understood a simple truth that daytime TV rarely admits aloud. Some stories don't fit inside a segment. Some collide with it, splintering the desk, the script, and the unspoken promise that all hot topics can be cooled with a joke and a cut to weather. They weren't at the weather yet. They were only at the edge, and the next segment would decide just how steep the drop would be. The commercials faded, and the lights of the view flared back to life. Yet the tension that had settled over the studio during part one hadn't lifted. It hung there, dense, electric, and undeniable. Whoopi, sensing the storm brewing, leaned forward, her voice calm but firm. We're back, she said with her trademark composure. And Meghan, we were just discussing your digital literacy project, but Joy wanted to finish one question. Quickly. Joy shuffled her cue cards with deliberate force. Quickly, she repeated, though her eyes gleamed with the sharp edge of a blade. Meghan, you've painted life in America as a choice you made for your family. Fine. But is it really just about being happy here? Or was it because, frankly, you weren't wanted in the UK? The temperature in the studio seemed to drop 10 degrees. Meghan's smile thinned, then froze. Joy, she said sweetly, but with venom under the surface. Being wanted by a tabloid audience isn't the metric I use for building a life. I don't need applause to breathe. The audience let out a nervous murmur. Joy smirked. All right then, let's address the elephant in the room. Harry's in London right now. You're here. People are whispering about separation. Care to put that to rest? Meghan's jaw tightened. People need better hobbies, she snapped. My husband is at a charity event. I'm here because I was invited. Two adults having separate schedules doesn't equal a divorce court headline. A sharp wave of oohs rolled through the crowd. Whoopi tried to lighten the mood. Life gets busy, folks. Anyone with a partner knows how that goes. But Joy wasn't done. Then let's touch on the royals, one last time. Do you really not care what they think of you? Or of Harry? Not even a little? Meghan leaned in, her eyes icy. Institutions don't have feelings, Joy. People do. I care about people. I don't care about protecting a system that tried to erase me. The room went silent for half a beat. Then Joy flipped her card. Dong. Fine, Netflix. Rumors say you're pushing for a bigger paycheck for the next season. Truth or spin? Meghan laughed without humor. I don't apologize for knowing my worth. Men negotiate every day, and it's called power. A woman does it, and suddenly it's scandal. Or, Joy fired back, some people see it as cashing in, on the crown, on Harry's last name, on drama that never ends. That was the spark. Meghan straightened, her tone sharpening. Some people can't stand women making their own way. They'd rather believe I'm surviving off borrowed fame than admit I've built something of my own. The audience gasped, half clapping, half jeering, and then Joy leaned forward, eyes flashing. You know what, Meghan? Enough. This smugness, this performance, it's too much. You're not a princess here. You're not even a royal anymore. And honestly, without your husband's family's name, you're nothing. No one cares. And most people don't even like you. The words detonated in the studio like a bomb. A shocked silence fell. You could almost hear the air leave Meghan's lungs. For the first time all morning, her composure cracked. Her lips trembled. Her eyes welled. She blinked hard, fighting the tears. But they came anyway. Whoopi immediately stepped in, her voice commanding. Right, that's enough. Joy, you crossed a line. Meghan, she turned to her guest, her tone softening. You don't owe anyone here pain on command. Take your time. The audience split into two camps, some gasping in sympathy for Meghan, others clapping at Joy's tough talk. Meghan's voice broke, thin but audible. I came here in good faith, she whispered, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue handed over by a producer. And all I've gotten is judgment dressed up as questions. I don't need to defend my existence every time I open my mouth. The studio erupted into mixed noise, shouts of, "We love you, Meghan," interlaced with awkward murmurs. Joy, still holding her card, shifted uncomfortably. I ask questions people are already asking, she said defensively, her voice faltering now. That's my job. That wasn't a question, Whoopi shot back, her tone hard as stone. That was a verdict, and we don't do verdicts here. Meghan stood, fumbling with her microphone cord. You know what? She said, her tears streaking, but her voice steadying. I don't care if people don't like me. I'm not here to be everyone's favorite, but respect costs nothing, and even that's been too much to ask for today. The audience applauded loudly now, a mix of pity and defiance. Whoopi reached across the table, gently taking Meghan's hand. You don't need to stay, she said softly. Meghan nodded. She unclipped her microphone, laid it carefully on the table, and took a shaky breath. I deserve better than this, and so do your viewers, she said, turning toward the exit. As she walked off, the audience broke into scattered applause. A few boos echoed, but the overwhelming sound was clapping, some even rising to their feet. The camera caught Joy shifting uneasily in her chair. Her lips parted, but no words came. Whoopi turned to face the lens, her face grave. Today's conversation went to a place it shouldn't have, she said firmly. And for that, I apologize to our audience and to Meghan. Tough questions don't mean cruel ones, and we all need that reminder. Joy finally leaned into her microphone, her voice subdued. If I came off too harsh, I regret it, she said, choosing each word carefully. That wasn't my intention. But the damage was done. Meghan Markle had left the building in tears. Joy Behar was left to explain herself. And the studio, millions of viewers watching live, had just witnessed one of the most explosive moments in daytime television history. What began as a cordial interview ended as a cultural earthquake, one that would dominate headlines, fuel endless debates, and stain reputations for years to come.